won the Super Bowl in 18, and then you go into your, I think it was like the first or second preseason game the following season. It was like at Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching that game, and it wasn't just you. It was like the team.
We looked awful.
It was shitty, man.
I played awful. We looked awful.
It was so bad, and I remember like at halftime they talked to Doug Pederson. He was so pissed.
Oh, he was pissed at me.
So that pressure of like, yeah, you won a Super Bowl, but like everyone wants to bounce back and be strong, be ready for the season. Like that's a lot on Nick Sirianni. Like I know everyone calls it Super Bowl hangover and all that, but I vividly remember that halftime interview in Cleveland with Doug, and he was pissed.
Yeah. No, I remember being in the airport afterwards, and I don't even know if he talked to me. He was so mad. But the difference is this. They won a Super Bowl with their franchise quarterback, Jalen Hurts. The Eagles prior won a Super Bowl with their backup quarterback, myself.
Yeah.
And what was difficult about that training camp was Carson was –
You're saying your next training camp after
my
winning
training
the Super
camp
Bowl?
after winning the Super Bowl was not a Super Bowl hangover. We lost our coordinators – or our offensive coordinator, Frank Reich, went to Indianapolis. So we had to develop something new. But the problem was this. In training camp, we were reverting back to the offense that Carson ran because we knew Carson was going to come back week 3. Okay. So
I remember this
everything was always internally about getting him back and getting him prepared, which was tough for me because –
So I wouldn't tailor it to you because you were temporary.
It wasn't tailored to me, even though we were trying to do some of the stuff. But, like, it's a weird dynamic where you have a franchise quarterback in Carson Wentz, and then it's a new season. I then restructure my deal to come out back and be the backup. Though I'm starting the first 2 games of the season, everyone's just getting ready for when Carson comes back because he's the franchise. So it was a weird – dynamic, not that between me and Carson, it's a weird leadership dynamic where I'm trying to lead, but then Carson's trying to lead as well because he's coming back. So you can never figure out the right culture on the offense because it's not your franchise quarterback. Like, you're in confusion because I was the one who played at the end of the year and we did that. I want to be back in Philly.
Okay, so you're saying forget the
hangover.
Super Bowl hangover. There were way other dynamics.
There were so many dynamics.
Now I'm starting to remember.
There's so many dynamics, and once again, I'm going to say this: it was nothing between me and Carson. It's just tough when your guy who's going to be your starter, your franchise guy, who wasn't playing at the end of the year because of the injury to his knee, wasn't the one playing the Super Bowl. All of a sudden, I'm back. It's just such a weird, unique dynamic.
Well, I was fumbled. Look, like, and this isn't. I'm not speaking for you, but the reality is like your success in Philly and all the things that you did there and your career record there as a starter. It's unfortunate that there was this pull to go back to Carson because had they just stuck, and I'm not saying they should have chosen you over because there were a lot of weird dynamics there, but had they just stuck with what they had, this would have been completely different in my mind.
And it was tough for Carson and I. I mean, I understand 100% their decision. I mean, Carson had an amazing year, amazing player, was doing a great job leading the team. Yeah. Trust me, this isn't like a Carson Wentz, Nick Foles thing. This is more
– it is.
It allowed – I can say for me going in, I knew the best thing. I always think about the best thing for the team. I could never let my leadership from the previous year in the Super Bowl run – it was my team. Yeah. Everything about it was my team. It was, I mean, I was the quarterback leading the charge. Our offense was what I wanted. I had all to say. I was very confused and conflicted going into 18 because I knew this wasn't my offense anymore. It was about getting Carson back, and I just had to fill the gap because we were so injured going into week 1 in Tampa Bay. We had practice squad players playing skill position because everyone was injured. And then it was week 2 in Tampa Bay. We won week 1 against Atlanta, but it was a sloppy game. Week 2, we get smacked by Tampa Bay. And then Carson took – and I honestly was so stressed out because of that it was almost a relief because I couldn't be myself. I was trying to be humble, and I was trying to respect that Carson was coming back, but I couldn't let my leadership take over because then it's just like an awkward situation because I know it's coming to an end no matter what. That's a long way to say this is a very different situation for the Eagles. Their franchise guys led them to the Super Bowl. Their amazing vets led them to the Super Bowl. They are way more dangerous than we were in 18. 18, the next season after Super Bowl, we were still a great team. We still had a chance to even make it to the NFC Championship. We figured it out at the end, but at the end of the day, we were confused that we struggled through that season because there was so much confusion of like, what is this team because of how the year went prior. The Eagles don't have that. The Eagles, everyone's back. These guys are the ones who won the Super Bowl. They are so dangerous, but they're also hungry. I love the fact that Jalen Hurts is saying what he is, and he's backing it up. I'm a big action guy. I like confident speak, but Jalen backs it up.
Yeah, he does.
And
he's not a man of many words, which is great.
And when he says something, it matters. It reminds me, like, he speaks more than Darren Sproles. But Darren, who I was talking with the other day, like, Darren's one of my favorite teams of all time. Did he speak a lot? No. But his actions were the best I'd ever seen, the way he approached himself. But if he did speak, everyone shut up. Yeah. Because they knew that he didn't speak often. But when he did, it mattered, and it came from the heart. That's why I like them. They're a very dangerous team, very different than we were. That was a little bit of insight that people probably don't know.
Well, I think that's a really good point because I think, I know it's been 7 years, but even in the moment, I think people just came out, when the 18 season started and were like, why aren't we starting faster, right? And so, like, this is the first time the Eagles will be embarking on a repeat journey since then, right? Because last time they went to the Super Bowl, they didn't win, right, with Jalen Hurts. Now they won one. And the dynamic, so Philly fans, and I think everybody knows this, is completely different for all the reasons you just outlined. The dynamic of leadership on the team and where this thing is going, completely different, as you just really eloquently put, which was great.
Yeah.
There's always more to the story with that stuff. But